Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode 588 for the week of Sunday, May 28th, 2023. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who else is here with me?
Brock Sager.
And Kevin, sad to report, no Charlie.
Oh, that's all right.
This is something of a season finale, right? It should be all hands on deck.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. We not able to record last week because we got to go. Well, we'll talk about that later. We got to go to a special screening. So that's going to be part of this episode. But do not worry, no spoilers. We'll talk about that in a few.
I mean, we will tell you what we're talking about, but no spoilers beyond that.
Of course. And as I mentioned before, we're taking a break after this. We've had a couple unintended breaks over the past couple months. But it's actually a scheduled break. I am on vacation for a while, taking a very delayed 2020 anniversary trip with my wife. And so we're going to be off. Should be back recording in July. So next couple of weeks, unfortunately, we will not have episodes. But we had to get one more out before I left. So here we are. So we're going to save talk for the Flash for the end of the episode because there'll be no spoilers, but I still don't want to, if anyone wants to just skip it entirely, then I'll have to listen to it. But they're doing a number of early screenings for the Flash movie in certain areas, and we got to go to an unfinished version. We'll save what we maybe think or don't think is unfinished about it later. So we got to see a pre-release version of The Flash, thanks to Warner Brothers in DC. A bunch of people in the Bay Area got to go. It was a pretty good crowd. I don't know how many people didn't get let in, but it seemed like there was quite a good group of people there. We were lucky enough to get in sort of the VIP list, if you will, and then regular people just were able to get free tickets to go. We'll have a lot to say around The Flash. When we come back, we'll probably talk more spoiler about Flash, and Spider-Man comes out next week, so we'll have some things to say about Into the Spider-Verse, if you can remember what happens a month after release. And we'll have other things to talk about, I'm sure.
Fresh hot takes for everybody on the June movies.
Well, we can give a couple minutes. We don't have to have full episodes on either of those things. But before we go, we do have a couple other. I also wanted to talk about the finale of The Flash, which is the finale of the CW verse, Arrowverse shows.
So I want everyone to know, I'm most likely speaking for Kevin here, but Kevin and I have not seen the finale of The Flash show
or any episodes of these shows in 4 years, right?
I think it's been 3 years since I've seen The Flash.
Yeah. Did either of you watch anything past Crisis? Have you watched any CW shows past Crisis? Yeah,
that was my finale.
So, yeah. And you chose right. Okay, that's all I'll say. So I'll talk about that with full spoilers for whatever that's worth. Then we'll save the Flash movie for the end, so we have a very Flash heavy end of the episode. But before all that, random news from the past couple weeks, because there was a couple pretty big stories.
One was so big, Ryan had to text me. That never happens. When Ryan texts me news for comic books, it's big.
Well, we'll start with something that actually directly relates to a topic we talked about in the previous episode, and that is Distillery, the new comic book publisher that's kind of spun off from the creators of people that the founders and creators of Comixology. Their new company that they have coming out with all sorts of big creators, Brian Azzarello, Becky Cloonan, Jock, Joel Jones, Tula Lotay, Scott Snyder, James Tynion, Ron V, yada, yada, yada. We had mentioned in the previous episode that, like, holy crap, like, they're going. But I for some reason, when I read the initial announcement, I read it as exclusive with Diamond, and I thought it was a little bit surprising. Well, shortly after, we found out they are not exclusive with Diamond. They are also going to be distributed by Lunar Distribution, which again, there's a reason I'm bringing this up. As Lunar has continued to, for the comic world, build more and more exclusive and non-exclusive agreements with comic publishers. So Distiller going with Lunar is not a bad thing. It's just showing, the sort of the
where Lunar is in the distribution thing.
Yeah, and that multiple distributors are possible, right? That what will be a pretty should be a pretty prominent publisher, at least to start, is not exclusive to Diamond. That they are going with Lunar. Well, that was just a precursor to what would be, I would say, one of the biggest comic stories of the last 20 years. Except we've had two of those in the last 3 years. It feels like we're 2020, 2021, and now 2023. So 3 for 4. The news broke on Wednesday, this past Wednesday, that Image Comics, which has been exclusive with Diamond Comic distribution since its founding in the early 90s.
So 30 years.
30 years, has left Diamond Comics to be exclusively distributed by Lunar Distribution. Now, Diamond will continue to distribute Image Comics through a sub-distribution deal. It's the same thing they do with Marvel, IDW, and Dark Horse. DC Comics is solely distributed by Lunar and cannot be sub-distributed by Diamond. Basically, for civilians, for what this means is, your comic store can continue to order all these comics from Image Comics, from Diamond Comics, just at a lower discount than what they could get if they went exclusive with Lunar or Penguin Random House. And so that means the vast majority of stores will not go through Diamond. They will get their products through Lunar or Penguin Random House because that is where the better value is. In the case of Penguin, they have slightly lower discounts but free shipping. With Lunar, they have slightly higher discounts and very reasonable shipping. Diamond will have the worst discount and the worst shipping. So kind of a no-brainer. This is, I don't want to say the final nail in the coffin, but Diamond Comics, the major comic distributor for the past 30 years, has lost like 85% of its business now between DC, Image, and Marvel. The parent company, Steve Geppi, and they are fine. Diamond, I don't think, is going anywhere. It will just shrink even more. They have toys, they have back catalog, they have all sorts of publishers that they still distribute. Geppi owns Alliance Distribution, which is a major game distributor, which has grown leaps and bounds in recent years because the gaming market is so big now. So Diamond, I would assume for a while, Diamond was just most of the business, but Alliance has eclipsed it probably tenfold at this point. So yeah, if your comic store regularly complains about Diamond, well, I'm not going to be complaining about them too much because they're probably not getting much from anymore. And this is the thing for us, at least, that will cause me to find. I'm just going to flip everything over to Lunar. If it comes from Lunar, I'm getting it from Lunar, and we just pick up the scraps from Diamond. There's just not a lot we can do. Diamond clearly is just not, I don't want to say it's rats fleeing the sinking ship. It's ship already capsized, and everyone's long since fleed. They're just a couple guys kind of cling on, but they're long gone. At this point, there's just not a lot we can do. None of this should really affect comic customers, right? So anyone listening, most stores have little to no problem with this. Some stores really hate Lunar because they are owned by the same people that own DCBS, the Discount Comic Book Service. My feeling is DCBS is not a not a competitor because they are a completely different beast than what we are. Amazon is not a competitor because they are a completely different thing than we are. Barnes and Noble is not a competitor. They're a completely different thing. They're not a local comic book store, right? These are massive chains or deep discounters or, the biggest company on earth. I am not competition to them. They are not competition to me. So my hope is that most stores will have no problem switching over to Lunar and continue to get comics. And if they don't, well, comicsconspiracy.biz is where you can go online to purchase comics from a local comic shop that will happily deliver to you speedily, as Brock has discovered in the recent years that for some reason now priority shipping is like one of our cheapest options to ship half the time. So, yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it either. Brock...
I literally was asked to ship, what was it? One comic? 2 comics, maybe? I think.
Yeah. The ones to Florida.
Yeah, the ones to Florida, which should just be $4.35 media. Just screw it, whatever. It's paper. It's doing the same thing that a book would be doing or a magazine, but no. So what do I have to do? You know how much shipping costs priority to Florida from here? Like $11.
Yeah.
For the
a parcel was.
Sorry. Parcel was.
Yeah,
like $11.
Yeah.
But I can throw it in a priority letter for legal letter envelope for $7.60. But it's still ridiculous that it's $7.60.
I mean, shipping.
Dude, media mail.
USPS has to figure it out.
Media mail for one of our customers who literally orders every week. The priority is cheaper than the media mail, and it's going just up the coast. It's just like 5 cities up.
It's locally. Yeah, it's really weird. Well, yeah. Lunar leaving Diamond, big news.
Image leaving.
Or Image leaving Diamond, very, very big news going to Lunar.
Well, and Lunar's established itself as the top distributor
I just expected they were going to Penguin because Penguin's the big boy. I thought Penguin was just going to roll over everyone, and they just want to lock it up.
Penguin doesn't give a shit how the books get to stores. They just ship the books to stores. That's why it's free shipping.
But that's what I mean. I wonder if Image's sort of decline in the book market in recent years is why Penguin didn't pick them up. I kind of wonder, or maybe people at Image were like, we still want to stay with the smaller company. We don't want to go to Penguin because I feel like Penguin is the big company that's going to try to, push these things to other markets and get stuff out there. I'm a little shocked. I would put $1 million on them going to Penguin.
No, I mean for what we receive from Lunar in what we've had 2.5 years, 3 years now of Lunar shipments.
Lunar is the best.
Lunar shipments have been virtually perfect. So Image as a publishing house can go to potential like independent creators and say, we ship through Lunar, people are going to get your product in a good condition. Penguin, who knows? And with all barely reordering anything, it's like,
but they don't care about that though. I mean, Penguin's
as
been
a
off
big
of the world.
Company, it's like Marvel, they don't care. But Image has to care because they need to get the product out to people, especially since they know what people want.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I just figured Penguin's reach for distribution is so much bigger, but either way, whatever. That's cool. I'm very surprised. That's all I'll say. I'm not super surprised that Image left. I just figured they were going to Penguin. So now we get to figure out what happens to Diamond, and if you hated Diamond, you're happy, and if you love Diamond, I'm very indifferent. I don't really care at the end of the day as long as I get the product. Diamond had good parts and bad parts. Just the domino effect from DC leaving. And so this is where things get tricky. Technically, Image is now part of Lunar's Tuesday release schedule. So what we now have, this is actually the real story is this. I sort of bury the lead here. The real story is this. technically, DC Comics and graphic novels, Image Comics and graphic novels, Marvel, IDW, and Dark Horse graphic novels, and most 40% of manga. Penguin's a little hit or miss on manga. They don't. There's a bunch of those companies they don't carry. All that product can be released on Tuesdays. Wednesdays are and Oni is Tuesday. Wednesdays are Marvel single issues and most independent single issues. DC and graphic novels being something that stores could release on Tuesday was like, well, that's nice, but it probably wasn't enough for most. Now having Image on there makes that a lot trickier. I would not put money on Wednesday being New Comic Day next year. As of right now, we can't put everything out on Tuesdays because that's breaking street date for Marvel. The independent books, like, honestly, it probably fucking doesn't matter. But for Marvel, we can't, obviously. I would think there will be a push to line up all book products for a Tuesday release, because that's when books come out and graphic novels come out, and then that will be when comic books come out. I would think that Tuesdays being New Comic Day in the United States is going to happen. Just because now we're at the 50% mark. We're at over 50% of product can be released on Tuesdays. If Marvel goes, then obviously then it's Tuesday. But Marvel makes it difficult. Most stores, I think, will stick with Wednesday. If Marvel goes to Tuesday, Tuesday's New Comic Day. Marvel is the deciding factor here. Image is just not enough. If DC and Marvel went, then it doesn't matter what Image says. Everyone would force Image to move over. Image is, I think, enough to... That ball's rolling, man. That ball's rolling. You can't stop it. I think Marvel is going to have to switch. And they're going to line up graphic novels and single issues to release. And New Comic Wednesdays are over. New Comic Tuesday is going to be the thing in 2024. That's what I think is going to happen. Because I don't think you can keep it split. Not the way it is.
It's split because why again?
Marvel single issues is the big thing.
No. Why did we go to Tuesdays?
Lunar and DC.
Why?
The answer, whatever reasoning they say, the answer is because books are on Tuesdays, graphic novels release on Tuesdays. What happened was with the direct market, with comic book stores, we technically got graphic novels 6 days earlier than bookstores, right? So we would have a DC comic on Wednesday. Bookstores would have it the following Tuesday because the books are released on Tuesdays. DC and Lunar, whether you like it or not, it makes sense. They wanted to align all releases the same day. So comic books got bumped. Graphic novels and comic stores got bumped. So now Tuesday is the release day for all DC products. This will be the same with Image, to now align Image graphic novels to Tuesday because that's their street date in bookstores. And Marvel graphic novels, again, we can release them on Tuesdays. And IDW and Dark Horse and any manga and any small press, Archie, any other publisher we get from Penguin or Random House, we can release on Tuesdays because Tuesday is the book release day. Comic books are Wednesdays. So the only real factor right now is Marvel single issues. Marvel single issues are still street dated for Wednesday. We could release them. We could get in trouble, though, if we released them on Tuesdays. But I think that the ball's been rolling, and Image is the thing that's going to push it over, and it will force Marvel to change. I think Marvel will change by next year. So, new release Tuesdays. Get ready for it. It's happening. It's going to happen.
You got to come up with a new name if we're retiring Wednesday Warriors.
Tuesday Warriors. Well, unfortunately, those Marvel Comics Wednesday variants will not age very well. If you remember those winners.
No, they'll age perfectly fine. Look, we used to do it on Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm. Now we don't do it on Wednesdays anymore. I will keep this. I will keep this. I guess. I mean, I don't know. It's all been fully announced at this point, so it's just worth talking about the timeline of all this. While we were off last week, a major, probably the biggest leak I've seen happen in Marvel DC comic news happened in years, ever, maybe? Like, this isn't, something came out like a day early because the store got their shipment early. This came out like 2 full weeks prior. Spoilers started popping up online for what happens in Amazing Spider-Man 26, which comes out next week. And there were just camera shots from still pages. This wasn't like a high-res file. This was someone at printer or distributor, I'm guessing distributor, taking pictures of the final couple pages of Amazing Spider-Man 26, where a character had been rumored to, was rumored to be killed, that most people assumed was Mary Jane. If you have somehow remained completely unaware of this over the last 2 weeks, feel free to turn off the podcast and skip ahead 5 minutes, because we'll just talk about it for a couple of minutes here. I find the situation 1,000 times more fascinating than what actually happens. But so if you don't know, Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, dies in Spider-Man 26 that comes out in a couple of weeks. And
I'm shocked.
The screen,
Totally shocked.
The pictures, well, we'll get to that. People took pictures of the pages, put it on Reddit, put it online, and it being like some small YouTube channel had it. Like, I know Rich Johnson and The Beat and Heidi McDonald, a bunch of them tried to track down exactly where this came from. To the best of my knowledge, nobody knows who took the pictures yet. I would dollars to notice, man. It's a distribution. I don't think it's a printer. I think it's a distribution. And so Marvel immediately was like, avoid the spoilers. Like, don't don't pay attention to those. Don't worry about those. You'll hear more later. And by the end, not even the end of the day, by like middle of the day, they're like, full story, Marvel, Amazing Spider-Man 26, Miss Marvel dies, death of a hero, and here's Fallen Friend, our one-shot coming. And there's a special miniseries that we haven't announced anything about yet. It's just called Classified.
That was that classified thing that was in the solicitation.
Yeah.
I looked at that page and went,
yeah. Well, yeah, there's a classified comic.
Tom Brevoort wrote about this, that they had set up the Entertainment Weekly story.
Right.
The exclusive news break. But then when the photos leaked, then you have to give the magazine, you have to give them the go-ahead, because if they stick to the original publication date of the quote-unquote news story, it's
it would have been 2 weeks later. Yeah.
And that's not what a magazine pays for an exclusive on.
Right. Yeah, so Marvel quickly tried to do a little bit of damage control, but then Entertainment Weekly and Marvel released the whole story. Obviously, probably haven't. I don't know if that story was done and written and just waiting to be sent out. But
during a writer's strike, or was that before?
Different writers, but Entertainment Weekly, did have the exclusive, and so that's why they, if you're mad at Marvel, don't be mad at Marvel. Be mad at whoever leaked it, because they forced Marvel's hand. Marvel. You can't ignore something like that. It's online. Like it's on the internet. It's everywhere. Everyone was talking about it. And I have never... Man, I talked about this a few weeks ago. People fucking hate this run of Spider-Man to a level I have never seen in a comic.
I mean, I have talked to regular Spider-Man buyers who are literally going, I'm just buying it because it's a number in a sequence.
It's still our highest selling Marvel comic by a huge amount. I had like one customer drop it the other day, and even they were like, yeah, but I'll come back later. But I don't know. Like, Marvel may have really misjudged this, because let's be okay. Who the hell is Zeb Wells, right? Zeb Wells doesn't go, hey, you know what'd be fun? Let's kill Miss Marvel. That sounds like a hoot. Okay, anyway, next story, right? Like, no.
Even though
this is a character.
They've come out and said later that this is what they said, but I don't.
This is a character with a major movie coming out in 6 months that just headlined a show, headlining another season of the show, I'm sure is coming, right? This is a non-white woman, right? So a female character. Again, Marvel is not stupid. They have to be careful about how they deal with stuff like this. And let's look at Miss Marvel from the MCU and in the comics. In the comics, she's an Inhuman with stretching powers. In the show, she's a mutant with like Green Lantern energy powers. You kill her you kill her in something, right?
Well, because she doesn't have her own series right now.
Right. You kill her in something.
Like when did her series end? After the show or?
There was a miniseries that was running when the show was on, and yeah, she just hasn't had a series since it came back. Yeah, wrapped up a little while ago. You kill her in something. You have a special showing how the world loves her. You have the miniseries where they discover, oh, we've looked at her DNA. We noticed a mutation. You take her to Krakoa.
Oh,
you resurrect her.
I just vomited.
She has new powers. She has new powers. Now she's a mutant and her powers line up with the TV show and the movies. I mean, this is what's happening. This isn't even a question. This is what's happening.
Who wrote the show?
But we're going to find...
Or the movie?
Zeb Wells. Yeah. Zeb Wells, co-writer on the Marvels. So... Look, I mean, we know how this happens. We know what the plan here is, right? We're going to make her line up with her movie. So,
oh man,
the optics of
you know what this means? Gold balls might be in the Marvels movie.
Jesus. Well, no, I only give it. I think you're okay without that. Look. The optics of a straight white guy killing your most prominent female Muslim teenage hero.
Your most prominent. You're only
the comics most prominent, right?
Yeah.
I get that that's bad, but look at the reality of what's going on in this situation. Now, should it have been Jewella Wilson or someone else that have come in and done this series, and should there be a better way? Yeah, there should have been. There could have been a better way. The putting it in the most reviled run of Amazing Spider-Man since One More Day, and then past that, maybe ever. Yeah, probably not your best move. So there's massive problems, editorial and leadership, to put this story in this book, a book that she is not involved in at all, hardly at all. She's apparently shown up in like a couple issues for a few pages, but like that's it. So it's just completely random death. So I understand the frustration from the fans. Be aware that she's not going it. She'll be back before the movie hits, right? I mean,
what are the optics if they killed her in Miles Morales Spider-Man?
Oh, I mean, I think there's other ways to do it. You know, you've been around this block so many times. Killing these characters is just like okay.
When you're sitting there going Krakoa and a mutant, I'm like, oh god, like
Wally was killed in Flash, and Wally was killed in Titans. I think he's okay. Okay,
and he was killed in that Heroes in Crisis thing.
I mean, like he's killed in both books that are currently running, right? So I think she'll be fine. I get people's frustration at how it happened. Look, whatever. I'm right there with you. The book sucks. The book sucks. I haven't read it. I'm so far behind Amazing Spider-Man. But it does suck if she's your favorite character and there's other killer. But really, you'll be fine. Give it 6 months. She's not going anywhere. She'll be right back with mutant powers. Now, if you hate that, I agree. It's, I don't like it. Comics have had a history of changing the comics to match the media properties, and sometimes it sticks and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it's great and sometimes it's not. But I find that frustrating. I find that more frustrating than killing her, because killing a character is lazy. Oh, okay, sure, whatever. She died. Big whoop. Bring her right back. The anger towards Marvel over this, man, I don't remember a time. Marvel's gotten away with a lot of shit through the years. this really, I feel like the tide turned drastically on Marvel over this, which is weird because I think Marvel's been doing a lot of really good stuff. I think they've had a lot of hits. They've had a lot of their books have been very successful. This feels like they may be starting to. People are starting to get angry at Marvel, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. With the MCU and Marvel both being a little shaky right now, I don't know. I don't know what that means. I don't know if we may see some leadership changes or something. I think Cebulski's been doing, for the most part, a pretty decent job, at least as a retailer. People are engaged. The books sell very well comparatively to a handful of years ago. Even now that we're post pandemic and things are kind of returning to normal, but. The anger towards this was harsh and strong and consistent. And so we'll see. Amazing Spider-Man 26 already sold out. Second print coming. I'm sure it'll be an incredible seller. I've already had people calling, asking about how to buy copies. So, people could say one thing, but then they're still buying the issue. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if those numbers start to really drop off on Spider-Man. It's possible. In a unrelated but I think actually kind of similar story, they also announced last week the release dates for what was the other one for Secret Invasion is coming
again.
But what the new Secret Invasion shows is
the
finally
show
coming.
okay, because that last Secret Invasion they released, did anybody read it?
That miniseries? That miniseries is just some trash. Like nothing. I don't even know what that book was about. What I think
Secret Invasion, though.
What I think the real story here was they dropped. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, we're also going to put Echo, our new show Echo, out, and we're going to drop the entire season on Disney Plus November 29th. The first MCU show being fully dropped at one time, and you dump it post Thanksgiving. Does not scream. That does not scream a confidence in this show. Kevin, back me up. You know a little bit about the media world. This feels like this is just like a pump and dump, and we just got to get this shit out before the end of the year. It'll die on release day.
Yeah,
we just have to write it off on this year's books.
Yeah,
that's what it seems like to me.
I mean, it might be brilliant, right? It's all speculation, but
sure.
But the release to choose that release pattern for the first time,
and all at once,
and where it's located on the calendar feels like it's at this point in the we have till the end of this calendar year. Just Echo is not in our future. Let's just get this stuff. Now again, we're speculating,
right? No, totally. I have no problem with the character. She was fine in Daredevil. I think if this was any show, I'd be saying the exact same thing.
She was in
right?
Hawkeye, not
Daredevil. Or Hawkeye, not Daredevil. You know what I mean? Hawkeye. She's from the Daredevil comic. She was in the Hawkeye show. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I'm just clarifying.
If just so nobody thinks we're piling on Echo, substitute that for Secret Invasion.
I'd be anything, right? Yeah, no, I think it's anything. No,
anything.
Now, if it was a 4-episode or 3-episode, like a mini series thing, I could be like, okay, they just want. As far as I know, it's at least 6 or 8 episodes, right? I mean, all the Marvel shows have been 6 to 8, somewhere in that range, right? So if they did this with Secret Invasion and this, and they said we're going to just drop, okay, well, that's a change in model, but Secret Invasion not. Echo is, and that date too, man. When was November 29th? No, that's the
date. That's the week after.
So that's getting dropped Wednesday after Thanksgiving. I mean, I don't know. You could maybe claim you're pushing it for the holiday schedule and people have time off, but that just feels like they're dumping it. And they got to get it off the schedule this year. They got to get it off the books this year. So we'll see. I mean, whatever. I'll watch it. Sure. I'll watch all these shows. But
isn't Loki this year?
I don't think so. Did they?
Didn't Loki get pushed?
I thought Loki was still in this calendar year, though. Is it not anymore?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
Oh no. Loki is October. Sorry. Well, yeah, this says Loki's October. So maybe Loki before? Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Loki. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I take that back. It wasn't Secret Invasion. Where did the Secret Invasion date? Yes, it is Loki and Echo. They got their release dates. Yeah, Loki is weekly.
Secret Invasion is this summer, isn't it?
Yeah,
Secret Invasion is like
is
June or something.
20,
Yeah,
like
it's
June
soon.
24th.
Yeah. Yeah, Loki is October 6th. And then Echo November 29th, all at once. So Loki will go up, and then probably a week or two, and then Echo will come out. Yeah, I'm sorry. It is Loki is right before. And again, right, because if you're releasing Loki, if they did both all at once, again, maybe I think there's something to it, but we'll see. She's a cool enough character. I'll watch it.
If it was Loki season 2 being dumped at once at the end of the year, you'd go like, okay, step 1 to eject from this Kang plan.
I mean, it could also
it's gotta be.
It could also be that they just have to release it by.
Yeah,
they have to release the whole thing by the end of the year, and the only way to get Echo is because it's 6 or 7 episodes is to dump it all at once at the end of November, because it's going to follow Loki right afterwards. So it could just be a dump because of that.
Wouldn't it be great if the Echo show was awesome and was like Marvel's best show?
Yeah, no, and that's what I mean. Generally speaking, this has not been Marvel's MO. This has not been the way they've released anything. And right, no Marvel, no MCU show has been done all at once. Everything's been weekly.
Werewolf by Night, come on, man.
That was the one-off. This just feels.
Guardians Christmas special.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. This feels weird. So we'll see. We'll see why. Yeah, I mean, there could be some bookkeeping thing that they had to get it out this year, or pay more royalties to people that worked on it. Yada yada yada. I don't know, but it just feels weird. Final story before we talk some Flash.
Flashy.
In other news that I never in a million years thought would happen, both probably the most requested reprints that I've had from customers.
Right.
Because they've never been reprinted, right? Ever, right? The most requested reprints I've probably ever had anyone ask for was announced from Marvel. We'll see if people actually show up. That's the big question. But Micronauts and Rom are both being reprinted for the very first time in complete. They're doing omnibus collections. I'm unsure if the entire, because Micronauts ran. Rom ran a lot longer, so there will be.
Rom ran like 70 some odd issues. Micronauts ran like 50.
Yeah, so there will be. Yeah, it says Micronauts Volume 1 is 1 through 29 plus some of the specials. Yep. So yeah, there will have to be more. So there'll be at least 2 or 3 volumes. These are Hasbro-owned characters that Marvel licensed back in the 70s and 80s, like they did with Transformers and G.I. Joe and Star Wars and all this stuff. And for people of a certain age, these were incredibly popular books. Are really books that I think way outlived their toy counterparts. There's a lot of elements from Rom and Micronauts sort of came into the regular Marvel universe, like the way all these things were created. There were things that Marvel added that they were able to hold on to. But I think just because
one of those.
Nah, she was from Avengers.
Oh, you're thinking of there is a Bug character in Micronauts though.
Bug, right? Yeah. They're reprinting these. For the first time ever.
I have these. I have at least the Micronauts sitting in a box to be bound.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
These are Michael Golden art, right on the on Micronaut stuff. Really nice. Yep. Rom, let's see. What does Rom have? What issues are Yeah, volume 1, yada yada yada. What issues are on it? So volume 1 is 1 through 29 in the Power Man and Iron Fist issue that he appears in. So Rom showed up. Obviously, right? These characters will go off and do stuff. And there's some issues of this stuff that never got. There's people show up in these books, right? There's like Nova. Nova's in an issue of Rom. I have an issue of Rom for my Nova run because he's just in this random issue. Like with Rom, I'm just reading from the description here, right? I mean, X-Men, FF, Jack of Hearts, Nova, Power Man, Iron Fist, Galactus, they're all in that Rom comic. Yep. So chunks of the Marvel Universe are in all of these books that have just been taken away, right? It's a lot less in Transformers and G.I. Joe, but Rom and Micronauts were way more connected to the Marvel Universe. So actually getting collections of these is pretty remarkable.
Yep.
So whatever deal they struck with Hasbro, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I owned 2 issues of Rom in my life, and they were the ones with the X-Men crossover.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's what I mean, right? They're not minor issues.
Yeah.
Those are.
But Micronauts is nothing against Rom. I just didn't see it that often as a kid, like that as available. So it's not like I chose not to get it. I just didn't see it that often. Micronauts is awesome, though. That's so exciting. Now, I haven't read those comics since I was, God even knows.
Bill Mandelo, too, right?
And Golden. Yeah. Man-Thing is in a Micronauts story as a Marvel crossover. I remember that one. But, yeah, I haven't read those comics in forever. And I kind of wish these were epics instead of omnis.
They will.
Epics after.
They'll do it later.
They'll be in epics.
I don't want to wait a year, man. I want to read it. There's nothing like
I
that.
Can dig them out of my shed if you want to read them.
There's nothing like that anticipation when it's like an old movie being released on 4K or something, or an old comic being like that urgency of, I have to read something that's 40 years old immediately. I cannot wait. I must have it.
It's probably on the Marvel Unlimited app if it's available now.
Well, probably not, right?
I don't know. I don't have a Marvel Unlimited. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, they're not. They wouldn't be on there. It's the same deal, right? They can't be reprinted. So that might change. They may end up on Marvel Unlimited, but to the best of my knowledge, no, they're not. Just Transformers and G.I. Joe aren't either. Called the Star Wars, the license.
I don't know. The one I don't know about is Shogun Warriors. If that disappeared in the same kind of license hole, or
probably. I mean, right? They never reprinted Muppet Babies. They never reprinted any. Oh, well, they did the Ewok stuff, right? So all the Star Wars stuff is now. Oh no, wait! Didn't they reprint Muppet Babies?
Muppets has been No,
did they do
the babies one?
Did they not reprint that? I thought there was an Omni of something. Maybe I'm thinking of the Ewoks one. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, because I know they did all the Ewok stuff. Yeah, that's the modern.
This
stuff.
This is the modern stuff. I don't think they've done another one.
Brooks got a collection of some of the modern Muppet stuff. I don't think they reprinted the Muppet Baby stuff. Not recently. Indiana Jones, right?
Yeah.
The Willow.
They never reprinted that. They did the mini Willow. Yeah. I think I've come across a couple copies of the Blade Runner movie adaptation. Again, I don't know. No modern day reprints of any of that stuff.
Like some of the Disney stuff was through them as well. They haven't.
No, that's what. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, all the Saturday
morning
kids, the Disney afternoon stuff. Yeah. They did a bunch of that stuff. Yep. But yeah, it's all the licensed stuff. They don't have rights to it anymore. So, my fingers are just crossed for someone. Whatever happened to that stupid Transformers G.I. Joe license? Whatever happened to Marvel did the one-time printing on Star Wars, but those are like all out of print now. The Marvel Star Wars stuff, all that stuff. It's so much comics lost. All the DC Star Trek stuff. There's so much.
Well, you got that sweet Planet of the Apes Omni, right? I mean, setting aside the price and the page count. So that was a surprise reprint, even though it's Fox owns Apes, so maybe.
Well, Disney owns half the stuff I just mentioned. Right. They should be able to reprint all of it. Yeah.
And Godzilla also has not been reprinted, right?
No, not in any. I mean, maybe some random black and white. collection from Dark Horse in the 80s or 90s, early 90s. You know, there was random reprints of this stuff years ago, but nothing that's available. Nothing.
They're going to reprint that Universe stuff.
Which one?
The Universe stuff or whatever it was. I can't remember. Like, what was it? Oh God,
New Universe.
New Universe. Yeah, that's it.
New Universe. I feel like they did reprint one or two of those, but Star Brand's been a regular thing in the Marvel Universe.
The NFL Pro.
So. Oh, no Super Pro. Again, same thing.
The sports stuff.
Super Pro.
Pro.
NFL Super Pro.
Oh, man. You know what would be really great? You know what would be really great? If they could reprint all of those one-shots from food companies. Like the Nestle Quick one and like the Say No to Drugs ones. And
there's a lot of those.
Nabisco.
All the Hostess ads.
Oh, those one page comics, you mean?
That'd be great.
No, not the ad. They actually had a couple that were stored.
Oh,
yeah.
But you'd have to fill out the length of the book, so just throw in all the one page ads of like the Hulk eating a Twinkie and all that.
Yeah. You could throw in those old ads. Oh,
those are the best. So Micronauts and Rom. We'll find out more about those later volumes. Hopefully they sell well enough.
Very curious how those are going to sell.
They will be
surprisingly enough probably really well because there's barely any back issues.
I think low but aggressive. They will be, the upfront order will be good, but I think the long-term sales will be pretty minimal. But people will grab it. People will buy it day one. I think that is something. There's enough interest in that.
But Micronauts and Rom has always been one of those back issues that, like, when we get them, they go. Like, they don't stick around for very much.
Because there's no collections of them. Right.
So anybody who's listening, who's at all interested, it probably is a good idea to pre-order or buy it on release.
Yeah.
Just because you don't know how long this is going to be around. Not only that you're sending a message of sales and you want more stuff like this, but you don't know when it's going to disappear.
I look at the Conan omnibuses, right? Marvel started back up on those and the Epics, and then boom, Conan's gone. It's over to Titan. They're reprinting it.
They got all of them done. Like, they finished all of them.
No, not the magazines.
No, they didn't do the magazines?
Okay. Yep. I think they finished the comics.
They finished the comics because I was talking to one of the customers who gets those, and I think they finished those ones.
Yeah. But, they dumped out the last couple. But, it's going to be tough for Titan's going to have to – Titan just go back and reprint them all. So, okay, we're going to move over to talk about Flash. So we're going to talk about CW real quick here, and then we'll wrap up with the movie bits. I have a way we're going to do the movie thing. I know, kind of hard to talk about with no spoilers, but we will. Flash CW. What happened, man?
I couldn't tell you. Like, it just started to suck hard.
Okay, so let's, we will obviously occasionally bring up the CW shows. We occasionally talk about Smallville, or we talk about,
Arrow,
the 60s Spider-Man cartoon or something, right? I mean, these things will come up. But my kind of final stance on the Arrowverse here is, look, Arrow season 1 had to find its footing. It was new. It was trying something
rough
totally
start.
different.
About 9 episodes in.
I thought it was good. It was a little off from what we wanted from a superhero thing, but I think it was a good start, good characters. It introduced some new stuff, but worked well. Once Arrow got going, and Flash, and Supergirl, it was just like off to the races. They were. There's always a big asterisk behind this because they're on the CW. There's a limit of budget. It's a 22 episode season. These aren't 8 episodes on HBO. We just finished Succession. I'm not ever going to compare Flash to Barry, right? Yeah. But look, for what they were, the CW show, their heart was in the right place. Those early seasons, they were this was the best I think we were going to get as far as like a network, long-running, connected universe. And the crossovers were fun. The characters were fun. They took the right things from the comics. Crisis was fun, but it just killed every show. It killed them all, which is very ironic, right? Like, that should have just been where they stopped. Mm-hmm. Had we known, I would have just stopped then.
Yeah, I think I finished. I don't even know if I finished the Flash season right after that. But like, I stopped watching DC Legends. I stopped watching. Yeah,
Legends stopped being a superhero show and became a very like the character. You will notice a trend here where all the shows started to lose their cast. They lost the real characters from the show. Started introducing new characters. Call them an OC if you want, whatever you want to, however you want to, whatever insult you want to use. Arrow lost a bunch of their cast. Dude, even when it's fucking Wild Dog and Ragman, they were fucking Wild Dog and Ragman. Yeah. They were the characters for as close as we're ever gonna fucking get on a big screen, right? And the stories were okay, right? You get Arrow's kid, you get the whole like we got to try to shove another show in here, so we're gonna make up these stuff from the future. Felicity was well enough, but it just got too much. Legends became this bizarro, like pot-fueled, just I don't know. Like I know they were kind of going for the Doctor Who thing for a while, but it just became this like dumb comedy, and I really hated it. Supergirl tried. Look, I'm about as woke as any straight white 40-year-old guy is going to get. And even I was kind of cringing in those final episodes. I'm just like, guys, you can pull it back 5 or 6 steps. I'm with you, but boy, it's just bad. It's just kind of bad. And Flash, man, I wanted to like Flash every like 1, 2, 3, and probably into like 4, even up to like Crisis. There was good. You could tell there were some problems, but I still liked it. And then once the cast starts going, I'm telling you guys, Barry was not in like half this season. He's barely in the second to last episode. That's like a direct. The last 4 episodes were like a little connective like story arc. They bring back characters, which was nice. But then they just completely punked out by the random nobodies introduced over the last couple seasons. They're making up characters that are just bullshit nothing that nobody cares about. When 80% of season 9 of The Flash is about those popular Flash characters of Cecile, Allegra.
Ooh.
And
isn't that a pill?
Chester, Cecile, Allegra, and Chester. Kevin, your favorite Flash characters of all time.
If you had alerted me
Cecile, Allegra,
I would have kept up if I'd known this.
Cecile, do you like that?
Isn't Allegra, Barry? Isn't that allergy medicine?
Yes, Barry shows up occasionally. Iris, I think she's still in the show. They don't have any scenes together, which is a little weird, but she occasionally shows up. And then we're just going to have most of the show be about Barry's adopted father's girlfriend.
Huh?
Got it. Okay.
Barry's adopted father? What?
Barry, his father, his father, right? His adopted father. He's the adopted son
West's dad?
Huh?
Iris West?
Yes, Iris is
his father-in-law?
Yes. But it's not his father. I mean, he adopted him.
Didn't they
so
get
what
married?
Do you call that? They did.
Then it's father or something.
Okay,
I don't know. Now
sure.
it's even weirder.
His father-in-law's girlfriend is now the main character of the show and takes out
the mind reader run, right?
She starts to fly for no reason in the final episode and takes out Zoom, right? She fights Zoom? I can't remember.
She's the one with mental powers, right? After the...
Yeah.
God.
They bring back Zoom, Reverse Flash, Savitar, and
what?
So the final couple episodes, they introduce Cobalt Blue, who's again these are all real characters, right? Cobalt Blue is I don't even want to get on that story. Cobalt Blue is a Flash villain. Let's just leave it at that. Cobalt Blue is a Flash villain.
Blue villain, right?
Yes. They bring another speedster. He resurrects all these other speedsters from like the negative speed force, right? And it's like, oh fuck. But then they're like, oh yeah, Allegra, you go fight Reverse Flash, and Cecile, you go fight Zoom, and what do they even call her? Killer Frost dies.
Spoiler.
And a new version of Killer Frost, but I don't even remember what they call her. Like it's the same actress, but then she has like a totally different name, like and different powers and everything, and she's like acts completely different.
Is it Ice?
Keone.
What?
They call her. Her name is Keone.
Oh god.
And I'm like, fucking what? It's so fucking bad. Like I want. But then, like, right, but it's like, oh, but then she defeats Savitar just by looking at him, or what? I can't remember who fights who. It's so meaningless because they bring back all these.
Just Dark Barry.
Yeah, but they bring him back and they just punk him out in like 2 seconds. They're just like, oh, she hits him once and then he's gone. Oh, back to the negative speed force view. It's like, oh, these characters you fought for an entire fucking season. Your OC sidekicks take out with one punch. Okay, whatever. Was
Cisco still in this show?
No, he never came back. Cisco never came back. Everyone else did. Not
everybody else, because they wouldn't let Elastic Man back in.
Well, yes, Elongated Man did not come back either. Sorry. And I guess
chick that was connected to him.
Sue, yeah, I forget her. I forget all the actors' names, but the lady who played Sue, she was back. I think one episode this season.
Okay.
I think. Because she did come back a couple times. And I think one episode, it was either this season or last season, but it was this season. They bring back Cobalt Blue in the show is actually Eddie Thawne from season 1, Iris's fiance.
Oh God!
From the start of the show, he's fine. I think he's fine. His costume's horrible. Like he looks like a Power Ranger. It was embarrassing. But just man. It's just so fucking bad. I will go to bat for everything up to Crisis. Even there's stuff in there that's far from perfect. This stuff in the show that's far from perfect. But there was such an attempt to do it on what budget they had, the abilities they had, the needing to have 22 episodes, so you get a lot of two characters in a room talking to each other. You get a lot of scenes back at the base for no reason. I get it. I get all the complaints.
They're in the hallways just talking.
Right. Exactly. I'm with every complaint.
We got to utilize this set as much as humanly possible.
Exactly. It doesn't matter that the Flash base is 500 levels underground. People just walk in, apparently. They just walk in like it's on the street.
No. They have an elevator.
I will give you every complaint everyone has about the CW shows. You are not wrong. Every complaint you have is right. But there is a heart to those shows through Crisis. Whatever happened after that, and it's so funny that of all the crossovers that they did, Crisis was the one that killed it. It's so accurate.
Because that Nazi Earth was even better than Crisis.
They were okay. Like, they were fun. They were fun episodes. There was fun stuff in that. Legends was my favorite for a couple of years there. It was really good. It just, I will rewatch I should go back and rewatch all the crossovers. The crossovers were so much fun. And even the episode of this season, they bring Oliver back. They bring, what's his face? Stephen Amell back for an episode, right? Because Barry dies, quote unquote, dies, right? So he goes into not heaven or hell. He goes into like purgatory, and he's on the island, right? And he's like, what? Where am I? And then, of course, out of the woods comes Oliver, right? Because he's the Spectre now. If you don't remember, end of Crisis on Infinite Earths, instead of Barry dying, which was what was supposed to happen, right? That's from the first episode of Flash, right? Barry, lost in the Crisis. Yep. So he's like, well, I'm the Spectre. I can't interfere, but you were killed, multiverse crap. I can actually interfere in this one. It's like the Watcher. Every time the Watchers can never interfere, Kevin. But I figured out this one time. We'll figure it out. We figured out a way. It's okay.
I
It's okay
turn
for
and
me.
my cloak thing hits something and it does what it needs to do.
To me to interfere this one time, I will. And he comes back and he he's like, well, I don't have my powers because I've had to. I'm not the Spectre on Earth, so he pulls out the bow, and I'm like, that's great. Like the episode was kind of dumb around it, but just seeing those two together was awesome because you're like, oh, fucking superpowers and costumes fighting a villain. It's like the best episode of the season because the whole rest of the season, it's like, oh, Barry's gone. Quick, Allegra, you have to fight this villain that showed up in one episode in season 4 for some reason, and then we'll talk to a bunch of the cops at the station, and yep, that's an episode of The Flash, and Flash does not appear in this episode except to zoom away in the first 5 seconds. All right, great, glad I'm watching. But I was like, holy shit, it's Flash and Arrow teaming up to take on a real supervillain. Great, this is the best episode of the season. It's so, man.
Quick question.
I love them, but it's just terrible. Just the last couple seasons, but absolutely terrible for every single one of these shows.
Quick
disappointing.
question about that CW universe stuff. How's that Gotham Knight show?
Stargirl, I will, again, loses its budget in the 3rd season, suffers pretty greatly in the effects department. Stargirl never stuttered. Stargirl, episode 1 to the finale, great. It's comic book characters. It's Jeff Johns. Of course he knows what he's doing, right? It's superheroes in costumes with code names, with powers, relationships that exist from the comics. Mm-hmm. The translation is different. Things are different, but the heart is there. The soul is there. The powers are there. The costumes are there. Their names are there. It's so much of what you want, and it does it justice. Superman and Lois, fantastic. Every season has been great. Again, things are going to be different. That's fine. You have characters that aren't from the comics. That's fine, as long as they're interesting. There's good relationships. Superman's in a fucking costume in every single episode, doing something. All right. Now, I haven't started Gotham Knights yet. I'm going to. I've heard it's awful. But, well, look, I'll try it. I'm not expecting much, but at the end of the day, it's actual characters from the comics, so I'll give it that.
Can I give you a quote?
Look, it's Bluebird, and it's Joker's daughter, and it's okay. Well, Batman's kid is the outlier, so I don't know how he is. I won't comment on it. I haven't watched it.
You want a quote?
Yeah,
my
sure.
ex-father-in-law. When I saw him last, he's like, that Gotham Knight show is a piece of shit.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I have no doubt that it's terrible. I will give it the benefit of the doubt. I've gotten through all these other shows.
Ryan, how many episodes will you give Gotham Knights?
I'll watch it all.
Wait, what if you don't like the first episode?
It would have to be Gotham level of bad. Gotham was just so.
Gotham was just a downhill slope. It started at and it went.
I don't think I can deal with shitty teen CW drama. I had a hard time with the Schumachering of Gotham. It really became something else as the show went on, and I think I got like an episode into the 4th season or 2 episodes into the 4th season, I think, and I couldn't do it anymore. I don't expect Gotham Knights will last more than 1 season, so less commitment. If it's fucking trash. So on my list, I still have to watch the final season of. So I finished. Oh, I should say Batwoman. I finished Batwoman. Terrible. Batwoman was terrible. I'm sorry, you lose your main actress. I don't know what you want. Season 2 tried. Season 3.
There's a season 3?
It was not good. It was not good.
I got to the I got to the last episode of the first season. I haven't finished that one. I was like, yeah, I'm done.
What they do in season 3 was okay. So we don't have Batgirl, or we don't have Batwoman. So we have the new Batwoman, Ryan Wilder. She's fine, right? But okay, we have all these other characters that aren't from the comics. So they're just like, we lost the dad. We lost. Alice still has to be here because she's the best part of the show without question. I'm not saying she's great, but I'm saying she's the best part of the show. Leanne hates Alice.
Hates her. Alice sucks.
I'm not saying she's great. She is just the best part of the show, which tells you a lot, right? Like, I like that actress's attempt at bringing something to Batwoman because no one else is. She's at least trying to do something on that show.
Alice's character, no one else was. That when I was introduced to Alice's character in that detective run, that was really good.
Yeah.
Some of that was in this character, but it just
not
much. And the rest of it was just like, nope.
So what they do in season 3 of Batwoman is Batman's like safe of like, all the shit he got from the villains through the years was basically like broken into. And so
his trophy room was robbed?
I'm trying to remember what they got. Someone got Mr. Freeze's like cold serum.
Okay.
So they kind of become like the new Mr. Freeze.
And then a bang.
Someone gets the Mad Hatter's
hat,
like chip from the hat. So they become like the new Mad Hatter. Someone gets Catwoman's whip.
Ooh.
And so they become the new Catwoman. So they actually have Poison Ivy's actually in it. She was actually pretty good. I forget. She's in a bunch of stuff. I forget the actress' name is. But then they make Batwoman's father's wife's daughter. So her stepsister, Asian girl, she becomes the new Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy. They both become. She's Poison Ivy and Poison Ivy's Poison Ivy. But then Batwoman's brother gets like electrocuted by like the Joker's hand buzzer, and it like fries his brain, so he becomes the new Joker. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's just not good. Okay? It's just not good. It's just not good.
Well,
okay.
what really
super. So Flash.
Hold on.
Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, Legends. Hold on. I have the final season of. Okay, I'm not current on Superman and Lois. I'm just a couple behind, so I haven't started that. I have to watch. Naomi. That got canceled after one season, and I have the final season of Black Lightning to still watch.
You know when you say that's where I am. That's with your word choice where you say I still quote unquote have to watch. You actually don't. You actually can reclaim your life and just not give them those hours. So imagine you're on your deathbed going, you know what? I really wish I had frickin' finished Black Lightning. Of all my life's regrets.
Black Lightning's okay.
Oh, no, I'm not saying anything bad about it.
Of all these video games I have over here I need to play, I think I'm going to go watch this show that I don't really give two shits about.
Suffer for my art, man. Suffer for my art.
I wouldn't call it your art. Anyway, so
Ryan's in an iron lung, and they come on, wheel Gotham Knights closer. I can't see the screen.
Well, hold on. There is good news. Good news. The Diggle-led Justice U show was officially canceled, so we are now completely done with the Arrowverse. It is over, except for Superman and Lois. It's a different universe, but it's the last remnant. And maybe, as of this recording, there's no decision. There may be another season, I would think. Unlikely, given CW's current status, but possible that we'll get one more season. But we are almost done. We're almost done.
Okay, Brock, make your point.
This Batwoman Batman is probably the shittiest Batman. If he has trophies that are still functional of all of the villains,
they never say they just all Batman, Nightwing, Robin, Catwoman, just all gone, right?
Garbage.
All of them.
Garbage.
Yeah. So that is the end of Flash and the Arrowverse, and What are you gonna do? Yeah, sucked how it went out, but we had some very good years there for a while. It was a very good years for a while, and we'll see. We'll see. Now we got the Gunverse. We'll see what happens with the new shows. Flash, the movie. From one Flash to the next.
Let's change speeds here and gears.
Let's cross multiverse. Yeah. Let's cross multiverse here,
which was one of the good things from Crisis.
Yeah.
That was a Crisis where Barry.
Was that
and Barry
in Crisis?
Yeah, that's what
yeah. I was trying to remember when that happened.
Because Crisis set up a lot of the stuff that get this. Crisis kind of set up this movie because we had the '89 verse was one of the featured ones in Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then they actually crossed over with Flash and Flash. The CW Flash with the movie Flash.
Yeah. So how we're going to do this, I will talk briefly about just what we ended up doing. Let's do that, and then we'll talk about the movie. We're not going to spoil. We've been promised to not spoil stuff, although there are spoilers out there if you really want to see them. Something got kind of announced. Even that, we're not going to talk about. It's not. It's out there if you want to know, but it was not officially announced in any regard, as far as I know. So, we'll keep this spoiler free. Don't worry. But we did get to go. We got to go to Mercado, which is where we saw the legendary Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 with the sticky floors and the hot seats.
I got to sit next to Kevin.
The origin of that meme.
The second I sat down, I was like, "Dude, check it out! It's not sticky."
Yeah. Same theater, but newly renovated. I've not been to Mercado since. I was trying to figure out when was the last time I was even there. It's been a long time.
I've been there with my kids a couple times. I saw John Wick 4 there with my roommate and his girlfriend. That's the most recent one. But I've been a couple times with my kids. But now that Sunnyvale's open, I mainly just try and go there because I can walk.
Yeah. So all of us went. Toby, Charlie, Lane, big group got to go for the store, which is super cool. Again, thank you very, very much for the invite for that. Warner Brothers, that was super awesome. And a bunch of our customers got to go as well. So we gave out tickets. It was one of those big lines where people had to wait in line. So, if you didn't get in, you didn't get in. But I did. A number of my friends got to go. A number of customers in the store got to go. So that was super cool. It's hard to talk around stuff. So I thought instead of talking around things, I thought just what you want a letter grade if you want to give thoughts. I want to talk more about just the elements of the story and things that people already know. Again, if you don't watch any trailer, if you know anything about this movie, skip, because we will talk stuff that was in trailers, so stuff that most people will know happens in this movie.
Supergirl's in it. Spoiler.
Yeah. So things like Batman, right?
Michael Keaton, Batman. 89.
89 Batman, Michael Keaton, right? Supergirl, right? These are things you should know. There's multiverse traveling. Flash, all right. We didn't get to see. So again, I don't know what we didn't see because there was no credits. Before the movie though, I like how AMC has 15 minutes of ads for AMC, not including the trailers. They just kept being ads for the theater we were in.
Yeah, that's how AMC's been for the past 4 years.
I thought it was very funny because it just kept going, and I was like, "Yeah, I know AMC. We're here. We know. You don't have to keep telling us."
They're gonna milk that 100 years thing. Because they didn't get to do it in 2020. They're going to milk it until 2025. All right. I have to expect to see that stupid thing until 2025.
Yeah. I don't go to AMC's too often. But yeah, I want to, so if there was, I'm assuming
this was Kevin's best movie ever.
Have post-credit and mid-credit scenes, which we did not get to see. So hopefully there's more. Hopefully there's other stuff. And it's possible that we saw stuff that got cut or stuff that they're maybe testing to see if they should keep in the final version, because stuff that was, as far as I know, there had been statements of scenes being cut from the final product, they were in the movie that we saw. So I don't know what that means. I don't know how much, and I definitely want to see it again, obviously, for the post-credit stuff, but just to see it again. So I'm not sure how different. I'm expecting it'll be exactly the same, just with post-credit scenes. I don't think we're seeing stuff that won't be in the theatrical version, but it's possible. I don't know. So what I want to do is this. Give me your letter grade or quick summary, however you want to do it, on a few different elements, because I think some elements are, just to give people an idea of what our views are before go in. And again, we'll keep spoilers light. Because I think there's stuff in this that, might be, people question quality or question, what they should expect from some of these characters in movies. Because I want to start with, obviously, with Barry. All right. Ezra Miller, clearly problematic coming into this movie, but maybe possibly better. Tough to tell. Maybe Warner just threw him in a room, and is it letting him out to talk to the public till it's all over? Maybe they're actually getting better. Hard to know. I think this is the one big concern people had going in. I have one thing I want to say, but I'll let you guys have your minute. Brock, what was pre this movie? How did you like Miller's version of Flash? And then in this movie, what was your take on the character?
So I really enjoyed, I guess it's the Snyderverse's Flash, which is Ezra Miller's Flash. I really enjoyed him when we saw him before. He would make these quick appearances throughout the Snyder movies. I think his first one was BVS. And then we get
just like in
and so when we saw him in, was it Justice League? I liked the character. Even Joss Whedon did a fair job with him. I think Snyder did a much better job with him in his cut. So I was looking forward to a Flash movie with Ezra Miller. Their behavior after Justice League soiled my want to see the movie a bit, but with all of the ups and downs of the last, handful of years of like, is it happening? Is it not happening? Okay, they're filming. Is this going and then all the stuff escalating with Miller's, private life. I was on the fence in what my level of enjoyment of this movie was going to be. Going in, and I was just like, all right, let's just get, it's like the Band-Aid, right? Let's just peel it. Let's just rip it off. Let's just get it off and get it over with. They did a great job in this movie. Like, despite their private life, they are a fantastic actor. Especially with what they had to do in this film. So I really enjoyed their performance as Barry. I think that they, it's just really, really solid. So yeah.
Better than the versions prior or equivalent?
I think it's equivalent. I think it's at least equivalent to the Snyderverse cut.
Yeah.
Right. Which, I mean, at this point, any Snyder cut is the one you should see. Any of the other versions are just garbage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it was, and we could talk a little bit more about like where they're at right now, but.
Well, I kind of want to just touch on some characters. Yeah. Like I don't want to talk too much about the plot or anything like that. But
no, not that plot. Like where the actor is at in their real life. Like we're not going to see them on a promotional tour of this movie.
I mean, at this point, I'm less interested in that. Yeah. It's whatever. People are going to have their lives. What do they bring to the screen? Kevin, what are your minus of your pre-Flash take on Barry and I have there's a reason I'm asking this way for this movie. for this character?
First off, I absolutely love Ezra Miller in Perks of Being a Wallflower. He's wonderful in that movie, and I will always stick up for... I shouldn't say he's wonderful. They are wonderful in that movie, and I will always stick up for that performance as being just terrific. He's actually also really good in a movie called We Need to Talk... I did it again. They're actually really good in a movie called We Need to Talk About Kevin. I'm thinking the name Kevin, and it makes me think he. So I like them in previous movies. This is a conversation I was having with Charlie at our meal after the movie, and this is no spoiler. I'm just going to say this is like 2 sentences long. My 3 favorite DC characters, if you really sat down and like chiseled it out, ranked it, would probably be Barry Allen, Hal Jordan, and Captain Marvel, or call him Shazam if you like. And let's just say that the track record in live action features with those 3 characters has not been stellar, and we'll leave it at that. So before this movie that we are now talking about, I hated the Ezra Miller Flash. Hated. I just found it completely annoying, and a version of that character that has never appeared in any comic book, in any multiverse, of any iteration ever. And it doesn't have to be comics accurate. These are different mediums. It's fine. The performance did not work for me at all. However, in this movie, I thought they, meaning both how he identifies and also they, meaning what he ends up playing in this movie, was really good. And I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah, and the reason I asked was I'm maybe somewhere in the middle between the two of you. I was not a big fan of the portrayal of Barry Allen. I thought the powers are cool. I didn't care that the character was younger and different, but I didn't like the personality. The very spastic, very like
ADHD.
To say the least,
the anxiety, I didn't mind. That's like I said, for me, it was that avenue was fine.
Yeah, it didn't feel like, if that's where you start, maybe. So again, this is a spoiler if you have not seen the trailers. I'm not a spoiler if you have seen the trailers. There is multiple Barry Allens in this movie, right? Again, this is something that you see in the trailers. They do something in this movie that I felt had to be an intentional character fix for Barry, where they're like, look, we need to get this character of Barry Allen to something more heroic, and I won't even say comic accurate, just not the character from the Snyder version. There is a moment in the movie that like it almost feels like Barry talks to, like, it almost like breaks the fourth wall, right? And there is a near instantaneous change. And at that point, I'm like, oh shit, oh, they did it. This is, again, is this Barry Allen from the comics? No, but it is significantly closer.
Well, Grant Gustin is not Barry Allen from the comics, but he's wonderful.
Yeah.
Having not seen the last 3 seasons.
Yeah. He's never been the problem, right? He's never been the problem. If you hated Barry Allen, just the portrayal of that character in Justice League, I think you will come out of this movie with a very different opinion. And that is
I will vouch for what Ryan just said.
And if you sold Kevin, I think you're going to sell the majority of the audience who had problems.
What you just described for me for that character was like awesome. Like I was like, boom, you hit, like you nailed it, right? It brings this character full circle, in a sense.
And
they grow, and that's what's
there is growth to this character in this movie that a lot of times I don't see happen to characters and superhero stuff, right? Yeah, they're like, oh, this is the tone, and we're not going to deviate from this tone. They actually grow this character, and it's done very well. I think it's very, very well. So yeah, that was my biggest concern. I just didn't like the portrayal of Barry. So now that I feel that has sort of been rectified, I'm totally okay with this version in this movie and this portrayal of the Flash of Barry Allen. He's great.
It almost was like, I'm really trying to dance around spoilers here. It was almost like they separated Bruce Banner and the Hulk in a way, in that they took the version of Barry Allen that I didn't like, and maybe you feel the same, and split that into two different characters. Because all of those things were kind of concentrated in one character of this movie, and another one was left with room to grow and change and be interesting.
Correct. Yep, totally agree. And I think that was a very smart move, and
it was the engine.
Very well.
It was the engine with which they grew the character that I think worked very, very well.
Yeah.
Right.
So I got two more, and we'll do these in tandem. They're very different, but obviously Batman and Supergirl. We can go reverse here. I'll start, and Kevin and Brock. I won't say fear, but a concern of mine going into this movie was this was going to be a Batman movie that the Flash happens to appear in, and again, no spoilers for the big chunks of it, but I was pleasantly surprised by, and maybe some people won't be. Maybe some people want this to be a Batman movie. Both Batmen appear in not insignificant roles, but
you're talking about
not as much.
You're talking about Keaton.
Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck. Okay. Yeah, they both appear in not insignificant roles, but they are not the primary focus of the movie. Michael Keaton's obviously in more of it, and if you've seen the trailers, right? I mean, you've seen the scenes, but that's not 15 minutes into the movie, right? It actually does. He's not in the whole movie, so if that's what you want, if you want this to be a Batman movie, it's actually not. Which I did not want that. I mean, look, he's great. They do fun stuff with him. There's lots of cool scenes with both Batman. But but it's not
and Keaton Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. But they're not. He's not the focus of the movie, which I think was smart, because if it's just a Batman movie that the Flash happens to be in, and you call it the Flash, it just does a disservice to the character. That said, very cool to see Keaton back. I thought he was great. There are rumors for what was going to happen, what's happening now, what's going to happen, what could happen in the future, yada, yada, yada. We'll avoid all that. We can talk about this later once the movie's out, and we have more info to actually, not just rumors, stuff that actually is happening.
After we can have some real discussion after some time, just let it marinate.
Well, he was supposed to be in Batgirl, right? The Batgirl movie. So all this stuff we get, but kind of, it's a bunch of what if, right? We don't really know what the future is going to hold. What got changed in this? What didn't get changed? What got changed in Aquaman? Blah blah blah. But Keaton, I thought was great. Supergirl was, when you have the Flash, when you have Superman from Flashpoint, that is a very specific take on the character. This very, depowered, skinny kid that was trapped. The Supergirl in the movie looks like the Supergirl from Injustice, but in this, she's
Project Superman.
Yeah, it's
changed the sex. It's Project Supergirl, basically.
Right. It's a mix of the so she is Kara Zor-El, but she is a mix of the look of the Injustice version, but the origin of the Flashpoint Superman. So this is the Flashpoint Supergirl, I guess you need to say. Which, again, I'm sure a lot of this was out there. You saw the trailers, you probably know a lot more about it. But she was great. Just fantastic. Again, not in a significant part of the movie. She's in a lot of it, and she's a very important character for sure. But it takes a while for them to get there. So just be aware if you're going in and you expect Supergirl flying around in the first 5 minutes kicking ass. That's not the case. It does take a while. I would say the movie's long, but it's
like 2:15.
Yeah, it's like two something. But there felt like there was almost like a kind of like three chapters. Like you sort of get
Acts, they call
the Flash stuff.
Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3.
Sure, but it's broken down in some the way it breaks down. They're more in the back part. They're less in the front part. So I know Toby he didn't really care for Flash as the character very much, but he loves Supergirl.
He actually stayed up for the whole movie.
That's what I heard. I don't believe it. I wasn't sitting next to him, but that's what I heard. Kevin, why don't you go?
Wait, I lost the thread. Who are we commenting on?
Batman and Supergirl.
Oh, okay.
Batman and Supergirl.
Reaction.
It's funny. I've had conversations about this movie with a few different people, civilians, and every one of them has expressed the desire that they want to see it because of the Michael Keaton Batman. Nobody said anything about the Flash. It's Michael Keaton's in that, right? I totally want to see that. So. And I've said it's not a cameo. He's actually in it. It is kind of funny to watch that the Batman of Michael Keaton is in his 70s now. The Batman of this this vintage is so much more of a badass than the one from 1989 when he was a younger man. Like with the digital enhancements and such, you could just really make him act and move like Batman instead of like a knight in armor from the old movies. So it was kind of funny to watch that. But yeah, I enjoyed seeing him, love seeing him. It's hard to even complain anything about him. It was just such a fun, like, I don't want to say a breath of fresh air because that makes it sound like the rest of the movie is bad. And it's not. It just was so fun to see him. I'm sorry it was that we didn't get a kind of a Michael Keaton Batman movie finale. Just off on its own, separate from the Flash, not instead of, just separate then. But anyway, Supergirl, I know nothing about from the comics. Was she in anything other than Flashpoint? This Supergirl, I mean,
she wasn't in Flashpoint at all.
This Supergirl doesn't exist.
Isn't there a character with this name in the comics though? Am I imagining this?
Kara Zor-El, yes, there is. Yes, Supergirl. You may have heard of her.
Yeah, no.
Blonde
But
hair,
I mean,
skirt.
not. I didn't mean that name. I meant that look, not that name.
Yeah, the Injustice.
Injustice.
Yes, yeah. That's right. That's it. So I know nothing about her from that. Is what I mean. I've no knowledge of Injustice at all. I thought she was cool. I mean, the role is kind of thankless ultimately, as far as. Oh God, it's really hard to talk about this like a month ahead of when anybody's going to see it. She was cool though. The actress, it was really interesting and it was cool. I can't really walk out and say she was a highlight to me, but it was cool. I mean, that's kind of a lame review of that character. But that's all I've got. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, Brock.
Michael Keaton Batman is probably one of the best Batmans, period. So seeing him in action again, I was like, woohoo. Side note, my kids actually went with us and they want to see the Batman movies now very, very much. So that's something that we're going to be watching most likely before it comes out again.
Nice.
Because after this movie, my kids were like, can we watch that again? So a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old were basically saying they wanted to rewatch a movie right after. So
great. It's good to hear. That's what you want.
So everyone's already talked about Batman. Cool. Supergirl. I was, again, like, it's an Injustice look. It, from the trailer, I was like, okay, they're doing the Project Superman thing. Like, are they going to do this well? Is it going to fit? It fits in perfectly. Like, it works with what the story they're trying to tell. Everything about the character, you know, the amount she's in it, what she does in it, it all just fits. I don't know the actress's name, but she did a fantastic job. You know, standing there with CG cape. But yeah, no, I liked it. It was good. Nothing. No, like,
yeah. Now, do you think, like, oh, whatever, I hate Flash, blah, 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 I hate Ezra Miller, but I want to see Michael Keaton? Again, Kevin, like you said, like, these are your, you know, the people you talk to.
It wasn't that I hate Ezra Miller and hate the Flash. It was just that they had kind of no knowledge of the Snyderverse and no interest in the Flash, but are interested because it's got Michael Keaton Batman.
Right. So my question is, do you think people would go, if that's how you view this movie, do you think people will be okay going in, and an hour in, you're like, Batman's in this movie, right? I say an hour. I don't know. When does he first show up? It does take a while before they show up. I kind of wonder how the average viewer who isn't a comic super fan that knows everything about the movie before seeing it, if they're like, oh, Michael Keaton Batman again, let's go see that, and they get there and they're an hour into it, they're like, I thought Batman was in this movie. You know, like, what's your feeling? Because I'm hoping the early part of the movie sells them on the characters, regardless of how long it takes for anyone to show up in the movie. And again, I don't want to sound like they're not in it. They are. They're in all, like, half of it, but half of it, not the whole movie. That's could be a concern for some people. So I don't know if either of you have a.
I think it's a fun enough movie that you're not going to sit there like strumming your fingers, wondering when Batman's going to show up. If you like comic movies, which obviously, when I say civilians, I mean just people without the comics knowledge, but you wouldn't have an interest in seeing Michael Keaton as Batman if you had no interest in comic movies. So I think the movie's entertaining enough. It actually reminds me of, and this is not really a hot take because it should be kind of obvious, Back to the Future 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so for anybody who's seen that, I think there's enough kind of interesting stuff happening that it's not just when is Batman going to show up? Because I don't care about any of this other stuff. That would be my guess.
Yep. So we're gonna wrap up, but I got one question, or one I want to get our take on something.
Is this a prediction?
No. The last thing I want to ask about the movie for people to go in, to know our lovely opinions while they're watching the movie, they can think back about the things we said. I do want to talk about not the post-credit scenes or any of that because we didn't see that, but you know, the end, what will be a major talking point of this movie, which if you have been spoiled, if you have seen stuff has come out about something, and this is the part that we have to be like weirdly vague on, but something happens at the end of the movie. There is a extended sequence at the end of the movie that will be a major talking point for a lot of people.
Okay.
I'm assuming you know what I'm talking about. Brock, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. Can we use one word or two words?
No.
It's a and something.
No. If you've read the articles, if you know some of the stuff that's happened, if you've filed leaks or other people that have reported on stuff, then you have more of an idea. You know what we're talking about. If you don't, it doesn't matter. But I just want to put this out there. And again, you guys can agree or disagree. There's realistic effects, and then there's stylization. There's a stylized look, and I think if you've seen people talking negatively about the end of the movie, there is either a mistake or an attempt to badmouth this movie ahead of release by a lot of Snyder Cut people, that there is some I'll say bad CG. It's just because I think that's kind of how it's being interpreted. Please note that is not the case. It is possible that some special effects in this movie were unfinished. I don't know. It all looked fine to me. But at the end, there is a series of sequences that are intentionally stylized to match up with other things that have happened through the movie. Do you guys know where
I know what you're talking about
here?
now. I thought you were talking about like the actual end, not
the last shot of the movie.
Okay.
There is a.
That's
there
where I
is
was going with the and something. But yeah, no. I know what you're talking about now.
No. I think there was an attempt to do something interesting and stylized and cool, and I immediately saw people talking about, oh, these special effects suck, and I'm like, I think you're either misreading this or you're intentionally trolling, because the effects in certain sequences at the end are I believe very much on purpose. So what if you were watching the movie and maybe I'm totally off and this movie comes out and it looks totally different? I have no idea.
No.
But I'm very confident
that you're talking about. That I had no issues with it. There was no problems with any of those shots, those scenes, any of it, because I'm sitting there going, "Oh, I know what they're doing." Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The stylized part is the presentation, right? In how it's presented.
I know this is really annoying to try to talk about, but that's why I just right, like if you have heard for people that are like, oh, I hear there's really bad special effects in the Flash movie. I do not believe that is the case. And
believe none of the effects in this movie were bad. I mean, some of them were okay. This is all CG because there's no way this can happen without CG.
Obviously, right? I believe it's intentional.
There's only so much Matrix style stopping of time we can do, people.
To be clear, and this is going to be super annoying and great radio. I'm going to hold this up for these guys on video to make sure I know what Ryan is talking about.
Okay. Yes. That entire.
All right. I agree with you on the effects. There was something in that sequence that first made my heart soar and then made my skin crawl almost within seconds of each other, because I was very uncomfortable with a choice that was made. God, this must be so annoying to listen to. I'm imagining myself as a listener to this.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you have heard that there is very poor special effects in the Flash movie, especially towards the end of the movie, this is what I'm trying to get to. Do you think that's the case, or do you think this was a stylized
I think it was a style choice. There is something that they included in the movie that made me very uncomfortable.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with the quality of the effects. I'm talking about something that was included with no comment on the quality of the presentation.
Sure.
But yeah, I think you're right, because the things that you are talking about, all look completely different from each other, not just generally shitty as it would be.
Yeah.
So you can see there's choices being made. Like
they're different. It's like different art styles.
Yes.
Right? That's what all of them represented, was a different art style.
Yes. And if somebody saw Into the Spider-Verse and saw the pointing meme and go like, God, why did they do that shitty animation?
It's the same. It's a similar sort of thing where actually that's a really good example, like Spider-Verse, where there's on different frames, on different styles, different animation styles. Yes. So I saw this and I was like, what are they talking about? I think it was all looked fine. And then I started to read more into it. I'm like, oh, I think
people are just trolling and just dumb.
Yeah, one or both. So that's all I wanted to say. I know it's annoying to talk.
Well, the funny
something.
part is that's one of the best scenes in the movie.
Well, I didn't want to just talk around stuff, but yeah, we will have a lot more to say about the Flash
when you get back.
Many people will say stuff well before we do.
So you'll want to come back to us because we'll have time to let it marinate.
Oh, we probably maybe not.
Watch a totally different movie.
By the time we record again, I was going to say there is a chance, if not all of us, then some of will have seen it again.
Yeah, I'll have seen it again.
So there might be more to say.
Yeah.
Could be actually talk about the movie instead of talking around in vague generalizations. But again, thumbs up, thumbs down. Yes,
just go watch this thing.
I'm
it's great.
Very, very much yes. Very much yes.
It.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin's big thumbs up. Yep. All right, that's it. That's a wonderful podcast, and I'll do the outro. But let's take enjoy your extended break from this podcast, or if you don't enjoy a break, I'm sorry. Go listen to old episodes.
Support us on Patreon, though. Keep supporting us. We will be back.
Go listen. We'll be back early July.
Ryan and I need to take a month off of just not talking to each other to balance out, to put everything right with the world, the two Earths in harmony.
I should say the final version of the comic is prepped and ready, sent to the printer. Kevin, I was gonna. Yep, I mean,
we'll talk off air.
But
we're talking about Meanwhile, a comic shop anthology, which you can still buy at comicsconspiracy.biz.
There it is. Very successful Patreon, a very successful Kickstarter, but still many copies available. Production done and off to the printer it goes. So we are, officially
and now
publishing
we both need to take a long, deep breath. And I almost don't even want to open my email for a month.
Well, that's all right. I get to be dealing with it soon.
Yeah, I'm going to be forwarding Brock 100 emails.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So we will be back. Thank you for allowing me this break. And we'll be back.
Well, we're not allowing
July,
it. You're just making it for yourself.
I'm forcing it.
Yeah.
For everyone, please go listen to some of our backers who have other podcasts. You should listen to them, including The Lowdown with Luke and Derek, which is on Spotify and YouTube. Go check those guys out. Joe Duff, Kelsey May, Craig Anderson at the Executive Evolution Podcast, Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum Podcast, and Talon Bray. Thank you all very much for your continued support. Patreon.com/comicconspiracy. You can go to comicconspiracypodcast.com and Apple Podcasts to find all our previous episodes. Comicsconspiracy.biz is where you can go to purchase comics from us for pickup or mail order. You can also go to conspiratorrock.com to find Brock's
I'll probably try and be putting more content up while we're you're on vacay, so see about that.
Charlie's Podcast and Wonders of the Fourth Dimension. It's all about Doctor Who. Monthly episodes up for that. Kevin's weekly review series called Between the Panels of Fanbase Press. Find that every week. Kevin interviewing some really cool
I believe
creators.
For June, as the plug I can get in now for June, Scott Koblish, Colleen Doran.
Yeah. Nice.
And also, I can't really plug this now because I don't have a lot of details to offer, but I'm going to be doing a new YouTube creator chat series starting in June. But more on that on the backside when we return on that.
For Fanbase Press?
No, for Comic Art Live.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice. Fantastic. So I'm more
details. I'm expecting a lot of Warlock.
No. I'll explain later, Brock. Plugs.
And LeanneHill.com. That's where my wife, Leanne, her artwork is. And although the store will be, I'm assuming you're going to put your store on vacation mode while we're gone. You can go to etsy.com/shop/LeanneHillArt to buy art from Leanne when we return in July. And head over to Twitter. I'll be posting all sorts of stuff from Japan, including from Super Nintendo World. I can't wait for that in Tokyo Disneyland and everything. Hell yeah, Studio.
I'm just going to put
this
this on.
isn't really a Japan trip.
Akihabara.
I'm going to put this on the air so you can vicariously live through my misery. When I was last in Japan and checked out of my hotel in Tokyo, I said to the concierge, "I will see you next summer. I'm coming back. You'll see me again next summer." That was 10 years ago, and I have not been back. So I am extremely the old
concierge is waiting, man.
Yeah.
Brock's. Oh, I'm Ryan Higgins, Ryan on Twitter. Brock is Brock Sager. Toby's Toby XI. Charlie's Insanity and Chaos. Kevin is that Kevin Sharp. The store is Comics Con Store. And check out Geekbox. Again, I'm not on this week because I'm going to go see The Cure play at Shoreline, and then I will not be on for a month. So sorry, I'm off Geekbox too. They're still recording. And Manga Nations are good friends. Talk about manga and anime. So go follow all that stuff. All right, I will see you guys.
Travels, Ryan. Safe travels.
Thank you. I will see everyone in a while, and we will all talk to you when we come back, or when I come back, and we record again in July. Goodbye.